Washington's got its sleeves rolled up, and miracle of miracles, both sides of the aisle agree on something. The Appraisal Industry Improvement Act is making its way back to the Senate, and if you're an appraiser, this one hits home. We're talking about real changes, FHA eligibility, AMC fees, and how to bring new blood into the profession without making them jump through flaming hoops. Today, we're joined by the guy who is in the thick of it, Mark Schiffman from REVAA. Buckle in, politics is finally paying attention to your clipboard.
LIA Administrators and Insurance Services, serving valuation professionals since 1978. We provide E&O insurance with a commitment to superior customer service, outstanding liability education, and unmatched claim defense. Explore our exclusive appraiser liability education by Peter Christensen and cost-effective seminars designed to foster your growth. Our underwriters, with an average of 26 years of experience each, are dedicated to supporting appraisers. Visit liability.com to discover how LIA can safeguard your business. You're listening to the Appraisal Buzzcast with your host, Hal Humphreys.
Well, welcome everyone to today's Buzzcast. Let me bring back in Hal. Hey, Hal, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Jim Morrison. How are you?
I'm doing good. Well, we have a great episode that I think everybody's going to be talking about. When legislation is introduced that can have a real impact on appraisers, we want to make sure you hear about it straight from the source. And that's why we're excited to welcome in Mark Schiffman, the Executive Director of the Real Estate Valuation Advocacy Association, also known as REVAA. And we're here to talk about the Appraisal Industry Improvement Act, which is expected to be introduced into the Senate very soon. Hey, Mark.
Hey, how are you guys?
Doing fantastic. Mark, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. Let's start at the top. How did you get into this industry, and how did you end up in your current role at REVAA?
Well, yeah, thanks for asking, Hal. So my background is public relations and government affairs. I spent about the last 40 years in that field in a variety of areas, and so had an opportunity to come to REVAA and provide a different perspective. They were really coming, I've been here for 11 years, so they were coming out of Dodd-Frank and a lot of the rollout of the AMC federal rule, or the federal minimum rule, which was rolling out into state legislation. And so, like any association of professionals, they want to have a voice at the table, just like the appraisers do, and just like the realtors do, and every other industry out there. And so that's what REVAA was really developed for, is to make sure that appraisal management companies and valuation providers can have that voice at the table. And so that was my background in that. That says I'm not an appraiser, I'm not an attorney, but I'm surrounded by them. And this is a member-driven organization. So we use the wealth of knowledge that we have from all of our subject matter experts in-house. So, I don't pretend to be an appraiser or an attorney.
I love it. So let me ask you this. Let's just cut right to the chase. What is the Appraisal Industry Improvement Act, and why is REVAA backing it?
Well, thanks. Yeah, so let's break some news first. This bill has been introduced late last week in Senate Bill 1635. So we're very excited about that. It's introduced by bipartisan authors. We have Senator Kevin Kramer from North Dakota. He's a Republican. And we have Senator Ruben Gallego from Arizona, and he's a Democrat. And we've always been, so we've been working on this bill since about 2017 in various forms. It gets part of the way there, then the session ends and we have to start over. The good news is it's bipartisan, it's non-controversial, and really has an opportunity to do some big things. And really it's 5 things, Hal. One is it allows it allows licensed appraisers to perform FHA assignments once again. It allows or mandates that the appraisal subcommittee put appraiser trainees on the national registry. It allows the appraisal subcommittee a little broader latitude in its granting to allow workforce and other types of grants that aren't really baked into its current mission. It adds the VA and the USDA to the appraisal subcommittee board, since they also have appraisal related programs. And then it also then gives the appraisal subcommittee the ability to lower the AMC National Registry fee if it were to determine that it's excessive. But under current legislation, it can't go down; it can only go up.
Okay. Well, let's talk about some specific points in there. So the bill touches on several key areas that affect appraisers directly, including FHA appraisal eligibility. Can you explain what change the bill proposes there and why it's important for state licensed appraisers?
Yeah, so the FHA piece, it's about 2008, the National Housing Act was amended, and it changed the terminology that required the FHA appraisers be certified. And so in the world of appraisal, that meant that a credentialed appraiser, which would be a licensed appraiser, is not a certified appraiser. So it meant that you have to work with a certified residential or a certified general. And so basically it froze out the licensed appraiser from that market. And we've all seen that one of the GSEs has the map showing the licensees and where that's gone. And that was really around that time where it really dropped off. And the problem there is that these are great opportunities for incoming appraisers, people to gain experience. And so to take them out of that was a huge impact. And so this bill would restore that so that licensed appraisers can once again perform FHA assignments. And so we believe that's an important part and piece of bringing the appraisers into the profession and giving them meaningful opportunities to be able to cut their teeth and get their experience.
Okay, very good. Another piece of the bill is kind of revolves around annual registry fees for AMCs. You mentioned right now it can only go up. Can you break that down for us? And what is the problem today and how would this help?
Yeah, so back in Dodd-Frank, when AMCs were included in all of that, one of the requirements is that the appraisal subcommittee build an AMC national registry. And in doing that, it set the formula for how that registry would be funded. The appraisal subcommittee makes its money off of appraiser registry fees and AMC national registry fees. And so now that both programs are up and running, it's about 12 million or so a year. AMC fees are about 70% of what the annual budget is for the appraisal subcommittee. Then it's 30% for the appraisers. And so from our perspective, Dodd-Frank never gave the subcommittee a mechanism to lower that fee. Because they wrote it in federal legislation, they can increase it if they need to, but they can't lower it. And so we can't even start a conversation with the appraisal subcommittee to say, hey, we think this is excessive, can we reduce it? And because they don't even have the ability to do so without this change. And you'd ask what the formula is. $25 per appraiser who performs a covered transaction in the past 12 months. So you pay for them one time. It adds up a lot per AMC, but then you take the fact that, an appraiser might work for 50 AMCs and every one of those AMCs are paying for them. And then you have appraisers who are on borders, right? So now I'm paying that same amount, and so is everybody else, for the appraiser in both states. And it adds up to where it's an excessive amount of money. And now the subcommittee is sitting on about $30 million. I know that it's funds their operations, that it's supposed to go back to grants to the states. And again, that's part of why, expanding the grant program would be helpful for them. But so we're just looking at, we again can't even have a conversation about lowering it if they don't have the ability to do so. And that's really what this starts, at least gives us that option.
Okay. And let's talk about trainee appraisers. It's a real issue that's been kind of front and center in the conversations about growing this profession. How does this bill aim to help support the next generation of appraisers?
Yeah, REVAA members are huge supporters, and so are AMCs of trainees. There are many AMCs that have trainee programs. We're certainly a part of the various industry-related efforts. We see the future. It involves appraisers. We want appraisers to be able to come into the field, and there are a lot of barriers to entry that exist. One of those challenges, amongst many, is that appraisers are not on the national registry. And while AMCs and the GSEs and the lenders are all generally in favor of working with lender or trainees for all assignments, There are some lenders that still won't allow that because there aren't trainees they're not actually on the registry. So it's really an opportunity to remove that barrier for lenders working with trainees, gives them the opportunity to gain experience, hopefully the opportunity for a supervisor to monetize their trainee and be able to help us as we're trying to bring more people in, and that trainee route is obviously hugely important. So just one of the big barriers has been, and I think we've heard that, since the beginning of time, is that lenders have been the barrier, a hold up to it just because of concern that an appraiser isn't on the registry. So we'll remove that barrier and hopefully helps us towards the goal of bringing more people in and continuing to make this a viable industry into the future.
That all sounds really good. The thing about trainees, and I know there's some lenders out there that don't want a trainee signing on the report. Is there any effort on the part of REVAA to educate lenders about the possibility of letting trainees be more active in parts of the reporting process?
Great question, Hal. We talk to our members. Our members are all the AMCs, and the lenders are their clients. And so we use that opportunity to educate through our members to those lenders the viability of working with trainees in the marketplace, whether it be property data collection, whether it be appraisal, whether it be other types of ways to gain experience. The world is different now than it used to be, and we've got an opportunity out there, honestly. I believe the number is about 70 million people who are currently in a position that they want to change. They want to move to another job. They may not have a college degree. They could come over as a trainee and start getting experience. We've got to find opportunities to build those bridges. And by giving trainees more opportunity, not less, we think that's going to be attractive for new people coming in, the ability for supervisors to be able to monetize that, which is something that they've needed. So it's if they tell you there's a barrier in the way, then let's remove the barrier and see what happens. So that's our goal.
Very good, Mark. First of all, thank you for taking the time to be here. Second of all, I need to hear from one of our sponsors. So let's take a break and hear from one of our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Intercorp, a division of Norman Spencer, has your back. Comprehensive insurance coverage from a team that's always there when you need them. The team at Norman Spencer is ready to roll up our sleeves and dig into your toughest insurance questions. We're committed to appraisers and AMCs. Intercorp's programs are tailored specifically for the appraisal industry. Put our experience to work for you. Please contact Susan Lomeli, Lomeli, at norman-spencer.com to discuss your insurance needs.
Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to the Appraisal Buzzcast. I'm Hal Humphreys, your host. I'm joined today by Mark Schiffman from over at REVAA. We've been talking about this bill that they've got in the Senate right now. Mark, tell us one more time, what is the name of this bill, and just roughly, what are the points it covers?
Yep, it's the Senate Bill 1635, the Appraisal Industry Improvement Act. Does 5 things. It adds trainee appraisers to the National Registry, allows licensed appraisers to perform FHA assignments, allows the appraisal subcommittee to reduce the AMC National Registry fee if it so chooses. It adds the USDA and the Veterans Administration to the Appraisal Subcommittee Board of Directors, and it allows the Appraisal Subcommittee some more flexibility in granting to allow for workforce and job improvement type areas, which we've been talking about for several years. So those are the 5 areas that it covers. Nonpartisan, sponsored by both a Republican and a Democrat, and it's non-controversial. So we're hopeful that this has a real chance to perform the way we need it to and pass and provide some real relief that's needed.
Very good. Mark Schiffman, thank you again for being here. Now, Mark, I will tell you, Jim Morrison sometimes comes at me with anonymous appraiser questions. Jim, do we have an anonymous appraiser question today?
We don't have one this year. If anybody wants to reach out to us, do so at comments@appraisalbuzz.com. We'd love to get your questions for our experts. But if you want to stay informed or get involved, visit REVAA.org. That's REVAA.org. And learn about their advocacy work in the Appraisal Industry Improvement Act. Thanks so much, Mark. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Mark, thank you so much. If we have nothing else, for Jim Morrison and Mark Schiffman, I'm Hal Humphreys, and that is your Appraisal Buzzcast for this week.